Alright, hi everyone, Jonathan here. Hope you guys are having a great day after the first week of testing for 2020. Ooh, it's so close, guys. Oh my god. I'm excited. I'm excited. Um, so I wanted to wait until all the liveries had been released, and as of Wednesday when I'm filming this, that is the case, because I want to film a complete ranking of the car launches themselves. By that I mean a rating of everything involved with the event, so not just the livery, but really the whole release itself. The scores will be ranked by livery out of 10 points and by the name of the car out of 3, with the event itself, kind of the theatrics, out of 5, and then the car design out of 5 as well. So that's really not from an aerodynamic perspective, but really more from a fan or just kind of someone who cares about design. And I'll be doing these by the launch date of the livery shown on a full car. So basically we'll be starting with Haas and ending with Alfa Romeo. The Mercedes, for example, will be second because they did show us a livery after Haas, but Renault will be towards the end because they didn't give us a car with a livery on it until later on. And then I'll put the tallied scores at the end of the video and we can see where everyone ended up. So without further ado, all right, first up we had Haas, which was unexpectedly quick to release. I don't think really any of us saw that coming. Everyone was expecting Ferrari to release first, and then Haas came out much quicker than they did, so that was kind of interesting. I'll give them an extra point, I guess, for being the first person to release. And yeah, off the bat, I guess I'm glad that they switched up the livery. I don't know how much I liked the black livery. It was cool in the sense that it kind of paid tribute to the old Lotus cars, the John Player special type stuff, but I don't think it worked very well, and Rich Energy was a joke. So yeah, kind of glad that they switched back to somewhat of their old scheme with a little bit of a twist on it. Overall, I ranked their livery at 8. I think it looks really good, but it's not particularly special, and I don't know if it really adds much to the car, like if it really makes it kind of look dynamic or anything, but it's a really pleasing livery. The theatrics, though, just a 1. When they initially released the car, it was just the renderings, and I thought that the renderings were kind of boring. It was just like set up in a studio. Nothing too special, and they didn't really have any show behind anything. So just a 1 for that. The design didn't do too well either. I ranked it at a 2, mostly because it just looks a lot like the Ferrari from 2019. I thought it was just kind of, and I know they've done that before, and I know kind of everyone else agrees with that as well. It's just, yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if last year's Ferrari looked particularly good. So just, yeah, 2 for the design. And then the name, which was VF20, I thought was pretty cool. So I gave them a 2 out of 3 on that. Not a bad name, I guess, but nothing super special. I don't really know where they get VF from. If anyone knows, feel free to leave a comment on that. All right, moving on to Mercedes. I thought it was kind of a strange place to show the car, the auto museum. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, it was cool, like it was a nice building, but it was just a strange place to release an F1 car, a classic car museum. And the lighting was so strange. I know everyone was kind of complaining about that, and I know maybe that's purposeful given that it kind of doesn't show us everything, but given that it was the 2019 car that they were showing the 2020 livery on, I thought that was just strange. But the livery itself I didn't like too much. I don't really like the red accents for the new sponsorship, so I gave them a 4 out of 10 for the livery. Didn't do too well on that one. And then the theatrics, I gave them a 3. I mean, yeah, the venue is interesting, admittedly, it's cool, but there was nothing really special about the release of the car. There was nothing very exciting, especially when they officially released the 2020 car. They just did that essentially at Silverstone, like a couple days before testing, and it was kind of just here's the car, we're going to drive it around the track and stuff, so not really exciting. But not the end of the world. I guess they put effort into it. So And then car design wise, I kind of like it. To be honest, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I kind of dig this new side pod thing that they have, the really defined curvature to the side pod. I think is really interesting. To be honest, I guess it's like a unique factor of the car's design compared to everyone else. Um, and then on the name, I gave them a 1. They just do the W11 for this year. I don't love the whole like naming cars as their progression, like Red Bull does and Toro Rosso used to do now, AlphaTauri. I don't love doing that. It just gets kind of weird, and then it doesn't align with the date, and so yeah, I don't love it. It's just kind of dull name. But yeah, and now onto Ferrari. I think this was one of the craziest reveals I've ever seen. This was just wild. I mean, they had like this huge opera house type thing that they were doing, and there was musicians playing, symphony music and the DJ and all this crazy stuff, and the lighting was wild, and it took like 20 minutes for them to actually show the car, which was just what? But I loved it. I thought it was like so Italian and over the top and just unforgiving and amazing. It was funny and strange, but I liked it a lot. But I was wondering who else was kind of annoyed by the super melodramatic in between music. I guess the stuff that they would like introduce people with, kind of transitioning between parts of the show. They'd play this really dramatic music, and I thought it was so. I thought that was stupid, to be honest. But that was probably the only part I really didn't like. All right, on to the rankings. I gave the livery a 4. To be honest, I haven't come to like this matte red look to the cars. I think it doesn't do much for me. It's not really. Maybe it's not what I'm used to, and that's why I don't like it. But I don't know. I think it just doesn't work very well for their cars. And it now lost some of the black that it had before, and I think the black kind of helped the red pop out a little bit more last year. And now that they've gone away with that, I don't know, it looks kind of boring, and I don't love it. And then with the theatrics, yeah, easy 5. I loved it. It was awesome. Then the car design itself, I gave a 3. I think it looks better than last year's car, but I don't love their nose design. I think the whole front end of the car, I don't like the whole flat nose. I think it just looks kind of strange, especially in the tip-up views. It ends up making the car look really awkward. And it's kind of the same with the rear end. The rear end is really flat towards the back near the diffuser and stuff. So I don't love that, but overall they kind of improved the side pod design on the car this year. I think it just looks a little bit better in that sense, a little bit more dynamic and angular. So I think for that they get a 3, but that's about it. And then the name. This is the exciting part here. I gave them a -1. I was just pissed. Like F1000, this is just a stupid name, and it doesn't. It sounds like something that Speed Racer would race against in his big movie. Like, yeah, here's Speed Racer against F1000 in the big Octodrome race. I don't know, something stupid. It just did not work for me. I thought it was awful, and it doesn't really correlate because I know it's their 1000th race eventually at some point in the season, but it's just like F1 had its 1000th race, and I know that Ferrari's had like throughout the years a few random races where they haven't shown up, especially like the first one I know they're famous for not showing up at. And it's just like, it's just stupid, and it was stupid when F1 did it, and it's stupid when they do it. So yeah, that's kind of my rant on the name. -1 for that one. All right, now on to Red Bull, who could have at least given us a camo livery but didn't. So that was unfortunate, I guess, starting off on a bad note. But with that said, the livery, I gave a 5. I think I'm just annoyed that I still like this livery, but it's just the same one that they've used for years now. There's nothing particularly special about it, and there's nothing particularly bad about it. It looks good. but it's not special. I think everyone's kind of tired of it. With the theatrics, I gave them a 1. There was really almost no release to the car. It was just some rendered photos that they put on kind of a white background. It was very boring, very dull. Didn't like it too much. But with that said, I think the car design is awesome. I gave them a 5 for that. It's just pretty and simple, as Nui always does. I like the side pod design. I think that looks clean. And the front nose got a little bit tighter than it was before, which kind of makes the car look a little bit nicer. It's seeming like a lot of the teams this year have made the front nose just in general a little bit tighter than it was the year before or any of the years before this, which I love because it makes it look a lot more like those 90s Formula One cars that we all love. And I bet it's kind of transitioning into the 2021 front ends of the car. And then the name, I gave them a 1 because it's just RB16, super boring, super what they always do, just naming from when they started. So, yep. All right, then on to McLaren, and I loved this one. Loved the whole launch, but I feel like the people in the crowd did not feel the same way. I mean, if anyone saw the people in the crowd looked so bored, man. I mean, like all these suits were just like, no, I'm just on my phone while McLaren's releasing this amazing car, and it was just like, why the hell are you even there? Yeah, with that said, livery I gave a 9. I love it. I think it looks super cool. It's just like a flowing river, and then when you get down to the details, the transition from the blue to the black, I think is really, really well done. It's kind of cool looking. And the theatrics I gave a 4 as well out of 5. I thought the release was nice. They released the car in like 3 or 4 minutes, which was, I guess, nice because we didn't have to wait too much. I thought the lighting setup was really cool as well. And yeah, just in general, having Norris and Sainz talk about stuff was fun too. And just, yeah, in general, it was cool to see. I'm excited for them this year. The car design itself too, same with Red Bull. I gave them a 5. It's the same thing. The nose got really tight at the end, and I think that looks awesome. And just, yeah, in general, it's a clean car. I think it looks nice towards the rear as well, and the side pods look fine, normal. And the airbox is kind of cool as well. So I think, yeah, just the whole thing, it's a simple design, looks nice, it's cool. They didn't do too well on the name, MCL 35. I think it's like the L itself causes problems, because if it's just MC35, I feel like that rolls off the tongue really well. But adding the L kind of just adds this little break in the name. And in addition to that, I don't really think McLaren needs more L's. So, but yeah, I don't know. They just don't feel the name very much. So 1 out of 3 on that one. All right, and the one everyone was waiting for, Alfa Tauri or Tauri. I'm still confused on how we're supposed to pronounce this, but I'm going with Tauri. And yeah, I think this was just a crazy launch. Everyone was excited for this one. I think we can all agree this was the one we were most excited about as fans. Awesome launch, and Coulthard was there. I mean, that's just it's a winning recipe right there. Fashion and Coulthard is just. And on the livery, I gave them a 10. I mean, come on, this is the livery that we all dream about when we go to sleep. So, yeah. The theatrics, I gave them a 5. It was kind of the right amount of anticipation and branding as well. And it was kind of, I know some people didn't like how much it was just about the clothing at the beginning. I thought it was kind of well done. It was kind of interesting. It gave us something else to focus on, similarly to the Ferrari one. I personally loved the lighting of the car that they had. I mean, like they draped it in the silk blanket, and then were displaying lights all over it. And I thought that was so cool in between the fashion shows, and then they would play like sounds from the V10s and V8s and up to now with the V6s too. I thought it was so cool. So yeah, 5 on the theatrics as well. But the car design, I think it's hideous. I hate the way the car looks. If you really look at like the front nose gets all boxy, and it almost goes back into that step nose era from like not as bad as 2012, but kind of into the 2014 type stuff, where it's just this ugly transition from kind of rounded to square. I hate that. The side pods look kind of droopy and a little bit strange, like kind of uncoordinated with the rest of the car, and the rear end just is not special. The whole car just feels boxy, like it doesn't feel very aerodynamic or aggressive really. So yeah, wasn't about the design of the car. And then the name, I gave them a 2 because I don't know, sure, it was AT01. I think it's kind of cool. It's an interesting name, has a ring to it, and I guess it's the first Alfa Tauri, so AT01 is kind of, it's the start, so I'm giving them a 2 for that. Now on to Racing Point. This one felt kind of cheap to me, almost like they were trying to save money after going bankrupt or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I know that's a long time ago now, a year and a half ago, but yeah, it just felt cheap, kind of like on a different grade, I guess, compared to everyone else. The livery I gave a 4. I don't really like it too much. I don't think I hate it as much as some of the other people do. I've heard some really strong things about this livery versus last year's. I still dig the pink. I think it's always cool when F1 cars do a kind of really special color that no one else does. It helps them stand out. But I think the kind of ribbon with BWT running across the rear cowl, it just doesn't work too well. It feels kind of out of place, I guess, on the car. The theatrics again, yeah, 1. I didn't like the whole, I don't know where it's supposed to be set up, but it's way too dramatic, and it almost takes away from the car, and you never really want that. Even some of the obviously very impressive, crazy theatrical launches of the cars, they didn't take away from the car. They really still kept the center spotlight on the car. But this is just like, it was in a sunset and stuff, and it didn't work. And then as WTF1 pointed out too, in the kind of photo with the team, it really looks like Perez is kind of photoshopped into the back. I know he isn't, but it just feels strange. Perspective wise, the way the photo is taken doesn't work. Car design though, I gave a 4, borderline 5, but yeah, 4 for that. I think it looks awesome. I think the front nose is so cool. Easily the best front nose on the grid, assuming they keep it that way. It's so cool. It's kind of like a spade in a sense, and it's really, yeah, that looks like it's ready for 21, to be honest. And just in general, the car looks super dynamic, pretty well put together. But the side pods look a bit strange. So that was kind of the only thing holding me back from a definite 5. And then the name, kind of 1 on this one. It's just RP20. I don't know. I don't like it too much. All right, then on to the Williams launch. And can I start by saying, howdy, partner? I mean, holy crap. That thing looks exactly like a USF1 type livery launch. I mean, it's just, I know it's maybe the Union Jack, I guess, but it just, I don't know, something about it felt so much more American than English, and I don't really know why. But I think it's just the ratio of red, white, and blue. It was strange. To me, it was like, yeah, why are you guys making it so much like that? With that said, I like the livery. I think it looks cool. The ratio of the colors works well, and the way they're kind of put together, hell of a lot better than last year's livery, that's for sure. That thing was atrocious. So yeah, this was pretty nice. And I think when you get down to the details of it too, it's kind of cool. I know towards the rear of the car, where there's the white, it's kind of broken up by these dotted lines. And I thought that was kind of cool, actually. It's kind of a neat little detail. The theatrics, I gave them a 2, because I know they kind of just released the car with renderings and then eventually a testing. But yeah, I thought the theatrics, like, it's well presented, but it's still just a render, so it's not very exciting for the fans. The car design, I gave a 4. I think it has some cool things going on. Their front nose is kind of unique. Has a little bit of a raised platform to it, kind of like separated into 3 parts, which is interesting. The rear of the car looks really nice as well, kind of just fluid and exciting. So yeah, maybe hopefully they can improve a little bit this year. I don't like seeing Williams at the bottom. I know it's always a joke. Like my family jokes about it, and I joke about it, and everyone jokes about it. But it's kind of sad to see them that far down. So yeah, I'm hoping they can at least challenge maybe for ninth this year. Then hated the name. Yeah, it's just they always do FW and then the number, and this is their 43rd car, so FW 43. I don't know, didn't love it. So, and now on to Renault, and my God, it took them long enough. I mean, like, what the hell? Why would they release the car kind of and have like a whole presentation, and then not release it officially until testing? I mean, they teased the hell out of us, and it was just annoying, kind of aggravating. I'm not really sure also what livery they're going with because they're kind of running both in testing. But it kind of doesn't matter because I kind of like both of them equally. Just the straight black with the yellow numbers and the black with a little bit of yellow running through the car. I think both of them rank equally for me. So I put both of them at an 8. I think black liveries are really cool in the sense that they stand out. As I said with the Haas one, like I like black liveries. I just didn't like the Haas one for last year. But the black, it's funny how a black livery stands out so much on the grid. Given that in the real world, a lot of cars are either black or silver, but in a racing car, you never expect it, and it kind of helps the car stand out. I think it looks epic, so it's cool. I'm hoping they keep the full black for testing and into Melbourne, but I kind of doubt they will. Theatrics, I did give them a 2 because they at least had like their presentation thing. And it was just, yeah. I mean, it's kind of annoying that they didn't have the car fully built, but at least they did stuff. They didn't just, put out a rendering and then tell us to be happy with it. They did a lot of stuff and kind of teased us along the way, and it was aggravating, but it was well played. Car design, I gave it 5. I think that thing looks sick. I mean, the rounded front end looks so cool. I really get like Ferrari 640 vibes from it, or Jordan 191 vibes from it. It's pretty. It's a pretty car. And the name I actually gave a 3 as well. The RS20 I think just rolls off the tongue well. Sounds nice. It sounds like a production car almost. I don't know, something you buy in your 20s when you get a job for the first time or something like, yeah, I just bought my first RS20. And so yeah, love the name. All right, and last but not least, Alfa Romeo. They always take too long to release. They always do this kind of, let's release on Valentine's Day with some car that isn't really our livery, and then pull the actual release is just a very boring thing on the first day of testing. With that said, livery gets a 10 for sure. That thing looks gorgeous. I mean, it's just like the way you get that kind of that ruby red, I guess, that metallic red running through into the white. I think the more red the better. I know they can't go full red because of Ferrari, but yeah, I think it's just getting better each year, the way they're playing that livery out, and I think it looks awesome. The theatrics, though, 0. Like I can't really give them points for it. They were the last to release, and they didn't give us any real renderings until they actually put the car out on track. I know they did release, a full photo shoot and stuff, but that was all kind of just done in live time. So it was boring. It was fun that they did some of the little cheeky stuff that they did like the day before they launched the car, but I was relatively unhappy with the way they always launch their cars. Car design gets a 4. I think the front nose is a little bit weird, but it's kind of got that complicated front end that's a couple of the cars are doing, this kind of weird integrated front end. But the side pods look epic. They're kind of tilted at an angle, and it just makes the car look so fast and cool. The name, I gave them a 2 because they call it the C39, which I think also kind of like the Renault has a nice ring to it, but it's just a kind of short, boring name. All right, so that concludes each individual car review. Onto the scores. We had Racing Point with 10 points in dead last. And then we had Ferrari and Mercedes tied with 11 points following them. Then we had Red Bull with 12 points, Haas with 14, Williams with 15, Alfa Romeo with 16. So really, really tight in the midfield, like I'm hoping it will be this season. And then Renault and Alfa Tauri tied with 18 for second place. And then for first, we had McLaren with 19. So McLaren takes the win on my livery launch rating video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and